Hello, people. How are you? Hey, it's Makeda Valletta, live on YouTube and IG at the same time. I hope you all are doing well. In case you're unfamiliar with me, my name is Makeda Valletta, also known as the Body Scientist, and I have a BS in Exercise and Sports Science and Nutrition Science, and just completed an MS in Medical Cannabis Science and Therapeutics. And the first grad program that I entered was 20 years ago, and it was at Columbia in Applied Physiology and Nutrition, right? And back then, I didn't understand the difference between graduate school and undergrad, right? Um, and really, graduate school is more about research. Um, when you're in the sciences, also, like I'm just going to say, I feel like if somebody's getting a BS or an MS, I feel like it's more difficult than a BA or an MA, okay? A Bachelor's of Arts or a Master's of Arts. Science classes are like a different language. It's a different way it works your brain, a different level of like thinking very critically. And when you're in the health sciences, there's a lot of indoctrination that goes on. And I got I got woken up to that in my first graduate program that I didn't finish. That was in applied physiology and nutrition. That program made me very aware of the commercial food industry, okay? Because it was the only nutrition program in the country that did not take money from the commercial food industry. And they used to say that all the time back then, and I didn't understand what the significance of that was. But that program very much made me aware of sustainable agriculture, getting things from local farmers, getting local foods that are in season, and just all the issues with the GMOs and the chemicals and things that are being put on the food, understanding the regulations, like the regulations from the FDA, the USDA, it's all a bunch of nonsense, okay? So that program really opened me up to that. But at the same time, so it's like opening up to the truth, but at the same time, there's also still a level of indoctrination when it comes to like in chemistry. Nutrition is a lot of chemistry. I've taken biochemistry in an undergraduate level. I've taken biochemistry in a graduate level. I've taken organic chemistry, general chemistry. Nutrition is all biochemistry, and so is pharmacology, really. Okay, when you're dealing with cannabis science, a lot of biochemistry. Also, might get into physiology if you're dealing with how the body is metabolizing something or how it's on your skin. Um, but it's a lot of chemistry, understanding metabolism and how something is broken down and the pathways. And so becoming aware of, like, I'm going to say this too. There's a lot of talk lately where people will downgrade degrees and they say, oh, you don't need a degree. You don't need to go to college. You don't need to go and get a graduate degree. You can teach yourself. And just because somebody has a degree does not mean that they know what they're talking about. You could say that to a degree, yes, okay, because there's a lot of indoctrination that goes on. So the important thing to do is that when you're in school, especially in science, right? Because that's my background, and I know that science has a particular language, okay, that is not easily understood by those who aren't trained in science, right? So having like if anybody who follows my work knows that I hugely believe in indigenous sciences and traditional foods, traditional ways of being. I believe, there's two kinds of scientists. There are scientists who seek to change nature, who they're trying to twerk something, mutate something, change this molecule, create some, isolate. They're trying to change nature and manipulate it. And then you have the scientists who seek to understand nature. I am the latter. Okay. I seek to understand and learn from it, not to change it. Okay. So, with that being said, um, Western science gives me the backbone to be able to analyze studies and to be able to then think critically. Like it's important to think critically outside of what you were taught in school or whatever. It's important to have good critical thinking skills and the ability to fact check, and the ability to know what's a good source or not. That's those are important skills, okay? And having discernment. But after I graduated from undergrad with my degree in exercise and sports science and nutrition science, that was in 2003. I never stopped studying. Okay, I got certified NSCA, certified strength and conditioning coach. I was an A certified personal trainer. I did Alpha Group Fitness when I was in college. I was USA Olympic weightlifting instructor. I became an ISSN certified sports nutritionist, the Pat Etchberry golf and tennis instructor. Um, I was always reading books. If you follow me on Instagram, you see I post books all the time. So if you're on YouTube, definitely follow me on Instagram because I was always reading books. I have so many books. When I move, that's my biggest thing is my books, right? And none of my books are bullshit. Okay, you're not gonna see a Dr. Sebi book on my shelf because that's a bunch of nonsense. Um, so I was always studying, always learning. Um, I studied a lot of womb health and stuff dealing with the pelvic floor. So just really all in on optimal functioning of the body, right? But school gave me that backbone. Okay, first having that backbone in nutritional biochemistry to be able to then, navigate from here because there's a lot of when you study nutrition in school, you learn a lot of the chemistry, but you also get indoctrinated. Um, and if you aren't thinking critically, you'll miss it and not realize it. Okay, so meaning that you'll learn in a nutritional biochemistry class that saturated fat is the most stable fat to cook with because saturated fat is the more unsaturated a fat is, the more unstable it is when heat, light, and air are applied to it. Heat, light, and air. Okay, the more unsaturated a fat is. So that's something that was understood in chemistry. But yet, they tell you to cook with canola oil and polyunsaturated fats. They're telling you those are the healthy fats to cook with. So people are cooking with corn oil and so-called vegetable oil, which really is seed oil, canola oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil. Those are all polyunsaturated fats. And when you apply now you pour it out to cook with it. First of all, when you buy it in the store, it's in a clear bottle. So what does that mean? A light is penetrating that bottle. I said it. I said it was sensitive to light, heat, and air, right? And when I say sensitive to it, that means that if it's exposed to those things, it mutates the fat into something that is very toxic and disease causing that will cause a lot of inflammation and destruction in your body. So if you're buying this in the store and the light's already penetrating the bottle, it's already oxidizing it, okay? And then even to press that oil, they use heat to even press it. So it was already oxidized and destructed. They put it in a clear bottle, the light is penetrating. Now you go cook with it, you pour it in the pan, the heat's on, the oxygen, the air is hitting it, and heat and light. And then you're cooking with that and eating it. That's poison when you should be cooking with butter or tallow or ghee, palm oil, lard, coconut oil, those things, the saturated fats. So I just know that I did learn a lot, in my undergraduate. I went to University of Delaware, and even though Delaware was a boring place, the when it came to the sciences, they were top of the line. When I was there, they were the number two most wired school in America after Carnegie Mellon. And when it came to the technology for the sports sciences, and I was a biotechnology major at first, but the type of equipment and stuff they had was ridiculous, right? So understanding kinesiology, nutrition is a lot of chemistry, but exercise science, sports science is a lot of physiology, kinesiology, anatomy, biomechanics, okay? So really understanding how the body works. And that gave me, I just continued to study. I didn't say, okay, I have this degree, I know everything, I don't need to know anything else. No, it gave me the backbone to be able to continue to dig through and decipher and think critically and continue to learn and know what's BS and what's not. And over the years, you work with people. So I've been working with clients for 20 plus years. So seeing those things, there's a lot you learn from all of that, right? Um, but my first graduate program I went into right out of undergrad. I did not go home after school. I was, I had a roommate. I was in New York City, had bills to pay. And when you're studying science full time, it's like hard to do anything else. It is so difficult. And back then, it was like I was taking like three hard classes at once. But what made this program that I just did just now more difficult? See, my first program was 3 years full time, which is a long time for a master's degree. This program was 2 years full time, but it was one class at a time. Each class was 8 weeks. Actually, sometimes there was one semester where I took two classes at once. It was extremely intense. Okay, so it's kind of designed to be one class a semester, and really there's like there's spring A, I mean, sorry, there's fall A and fall B, spring A and spring B. So it's really designed to take one class during fall A, one class during fall B, one class during spring A, one class during spring B. Then in the summer, and then again the second year. But when it came to electives, sometimes you might be taking two classes at once. And people who had financial aid had to take a certain amount of credit. So some of them might have been taking two classes at once a lot. Okay. And doing that in an 8 week class, that was really intense. Okay. Because there was always something due. As soon as I stayed up to 4 in the morning finishing one thing, and I'm like, okay, I don't have anything to do next week. Next week came like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, um, but and so within that, it was hard for me. Like I feel like no matter what happens, it's really important for me to take care of myself. It's really important for me to cook, eat good food, lift weights, dance. But that became extremely difficult. Over the last year, I haven't been on the pole. So I'm about to get back on the pole because I was last year, went from spring semester to summer semester, and I was taking a really difficult class in genetics, and I love genetics, but it was difficult. And between the school stuff, um, and working and being like, okay, I can't be too tired to get my schoolwork done, but I can't be too tired to get work done. But then in between that, I need to have enough food and energy to get to the gym because I can't lift weights if I'm like sleep deprived or haven't been eating right. I can't do it. I have to be nourished. I have to get good sleep. I can't be like feeling run down. Um, I'm from New York, but I live in Chicago, and it's like I've been in Chicago for 7 years, and over those 7 years, I've come back to New York every single month. But this year, I was not coming back like that because I just had so much work, and I was like so stressed out, and I didn't have a car until I got a car in the end of 2022. Okay, December 23rd, 2022. And before that, I didn't have a car, and I purposely moved to Chicago because I wanted to be in the city where I didn't need to have a car because I like to be free. I travel. I didn't want more bills, more responsibilities. I like to travel, move around. So sometimes I'd only be in Chicago for a week. So I'd be like, why am I going to pay for a car when I'm gone for a month? I'm only here for a week, and where I live, I didn't need it like that. So, excuse me, sorry. So, um, so, what am I trying to say? That so getting that car, now I'm driving more. So I'm doing that less walking. When I'm in New York, taking the train in New York, you walk up a lot of stairs just to go in and out of the train. Okay. You don't even think about it. But a New Yorker who's taking the train every day, you walk up several staircases. And then a lot of New Yorkers live in walk up buildings where they have to walk up the stairs. Okay. So like the building that I grew up in, the building my parents are in New York has elevators, but there's a lot of New Yorkers who are walking up two, three, four flights as well. Okay. Um, and then where I live in New York is hilly. Okay. When you're walking up hills, that's a whole different thing than walking on flatland. Flatland is nothing compared to walking on hills. So just that. And then my dancing. Okay. Because yes, I dance at home and stuff like that, but I also would take dance class. Afro Cuban, Afro Brazilian, Haitian, Congolese, pole dance classes. Okay. And for the past couple of years, I had barely been taking my dance classes because I had so much schoolwork, I had to work, I had bills to pay, right? So I just couldn't, it was like a huge sacrifice. So it's like, yes, I still went to the gym. Yes, I still dance sometimes, but I wasn't doing it as much as I was before. So the combination of all of those things on top of a lot of stress, right? So I still did my very best to take care of myself as best as I could. And part of that is by not running myself into the ground by saying, I'm going to make myself go lift weights when I know I haven't eaten right and I know I'm sleep deprived, because that's actually counterproductive. Okay. Exercise can build us up and make us stronger, or exercise can also break us down, and break you down in a way that is detrimental. Because when you're strength training and you break down and then build back up, that's one thing. But that requires proper sleep and nutrition for that build back up to happen. If you're strength training and you don't have proper sleep and food, you won't build back up. You'll just keep breaking down. And then you get overuse injuries and all kinds of issues, right? All kinds, you're getting sick, it's overtraining, right? So training hard has to be supported by good sleep and good nutrition. So now that I'm done, I can get back to cooking, because for the past like month I was barely cooking because I had so much work to do. So I was just constantly ordering out, and so I can get back to cooking, back in the gym. I'm just going to spend a lot of time in New York this summer, just going to my dance classes. Like, I drove from Chicago to New York, but I just had my car parked. I'm like, okay, gonna walk over to the post office with my packages, which is walking up the hill. As soon as I come out, walking up the hill, down the hill, up the hill, down the hill. Okay. Um, when I go to the gym, and in New York, you're carrying stuff around. So I need that in my life again, because that used to be nothing to me. And when people come to visit New York, um, you can't wait to go back to New York here in Maryland. Yeah. When people come to visit New York, even people from Long Island, okay? People from Long Island, I remember friends of mine from Long Island, they'll come to New York and all they would do is complain about all the walking. That, to a New Yorker, we don't even think about. It's nothing for us to go walk 20 blocks. Like, we don't even think about it. But people from other places will be whining or complaining, which is one of the reasons why we're such a sneaker city. We're really into our sneakers because we be walking, you know? Yeah, Chicago's dope, but Chicago's walkable, but New York is even more so. Um, so I'm going to get back to all those things I was doing, being on the pole, going to my Afro Caribbean dance classes, because there's not a lot of that in Chicago. So I have to spend time in New York to go to those classes. And also, wherever I'm at, I'm always available to train clients, um, in New York, in Chicago, in DC. Those are the three cities I'm in the most. Okay. But even when I come to other cities, um, I'm going to, right now, I'm recalibrating, and getting everything together. I'm going to start offering new services and classes. Um, but yeah, like, I just know, if anybody, there's a lot of academic programs in cannabis science. I keep seeing more and more of them. University of Connecticut, and some of them are in like horticultural departments. There's a lot of them in Alabama. I was really a lot of the HBCUs in Alabama. I was really surprised. So I'm going to do a video about that soon, just talking about cannabis education. And I'm not going to just say medical cannabis, because some of it is horticulture, plant science, agriculture. Some of it is more Some of it is also more focused on hemp science, which hemp and cannabis are the same thing, really. It's just the THC difference. But hemp can be used for clothes, for gasoline, to build cars, furniture, paper, okay? And it's way better for the environment. So there's a lot of the US universities are the forefront of these things, of researching this, okay? There's more people than you realize in this cannabis field, in the science. I mean, there's a lot of scientists, a lot of people, a lot of universities, a lot of money going into it in a variety of ways. And so there's a few things that I have up my sleeve that I'm not going to discuss publicly, because you don't need everybody's energy in it. It will be announced as it's unleashed. But the first set of things that I'm working on is books, okay? Because one thing with grad school is that it's about research. And on a master's level, you're not necessarily doing research. You might, depending on the program, but you're definitely reading a lot of research, dissecting research, translating research, using research to support opinions, and analyzing the validity of it. So taking those skills that we're given with that, and putting it forth in books. Okay. And people don't read enough. I told you, I have a lot of books. I just got a new book in the mail today. I'm always buying books. Even when I travel, I have books with me. If I was rich and I had more time, I'd read more books. But people really should read. Like, people really should read more. Like, there's so many people's houses I go to, they have no books. But I'm going to be writing some books. So hopefully you read my books, because you will learn some things. So if you really care about your health, the stuff that I will be writing will be like nothing that has been written before. So let me say that, okay? But it's really combining that indigenous nutrition with the cannabis medicine, okay? But yeah, I'm just gonna just watch me. If you want, I can document my whole transformation back to uh, where I need to be. Thankfully, we have muscle memory. Okay, so my body can remember, but it's all about just continuing to strength train, dance hard. I did a video about stacking exercises. So that is like, okay, you go work your legs in the weight room, then you go rollerblade, or maybe you go play basketball, or maybe you go to a dance class. You know, so doing several different things, and putting physical activity in your life, okay? And that's why I love being in New York and even traveling, like being in Europe or in Colombia. I do a lot of walking, and I definitely love to walk in the summer and get the sun on my skin, because that's super important as well. And when you're in most of America, people are always in the car, and you can't get sun on your skin when you're in the car. Okay, you cannot get sun on your skin, which is why I love summers in New York, just walking around, getting the sun on my skin, walking around, getting my legs to move. Our legs carry us around our entire life. Okay, you want to keep your legs strong, So anyhow, I think I'm done with this video. I'm going to do a video soon about the different academic programs in the cannabis hemp space, because there's a lot. Um, I the people in my program, there's a very diverse background of people, super interesting. And so I think that I'm not somebody that believes that there's no value in degrees or school anymore. Um, it depends on what you're studying and how you use that knowledge. And then if you're using the some people go to school and they just remember what they're told and regurgitate it back just so they can pass, and they're not really trying to understand the material. They're not trying to think deeply about the material or make connections, okay? Because there's an interconnectedness with things. When you use school to do those things, to make make the connections, think deeply, interconnectedness, really try to absorb and learn and understand and interpret the what you're learning, and applying it. And then you continue to do that after school. Okay, you continue to stay mentally active in learning and researching, and then it's a great thing, especially for me when it comes to um, what I've studied. Because there are things I remember when I was an undergrad, I thought to myself, this is stuff I can use for myself and my family for the rest of my life. Understanding how to eat properly, how to move your body properly, how to use natural medicines. That is a, a very valuable ability to me, because I value health and long life and just living optimally. Okay, that's what I've committed my life to, studying all the ways that we can take our body to its highest level, and everything that goes into that, which is what you do with your body, what you're consuming, what you put on it, the air you're breathing, the thoughts you're thinking, all of that. Okay, so I'm going to end this here. And if you like the video, please like it, please share it, please. If you're on YouTube, follow me on Instagram. And if you're on Instagram, follow me on YouTube. I'll put links to both pages. And I will talk to you all later. Have a good evening. Okay, bye. Why can't I turn this off? I'm trying to. Oh, here we go. Thank you guys. Follow me on Instagram. Okay. Hold on. I'm putting my Instagram is at the body scientist. Okay. Deuces.